Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for FanSided and Zone Coverage. He is Adam Patrick, NFL editor for FanSided. And we do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And we can spread the word to the masses. Sometimes I get into the flow of the week and all of a sudden the end of the week comes and I go, oh shit, I have to do a podcast. So I said to you, Adam, I don't know, man, maybe we should just skip. There's not a whole lot going on. And you replied with a list of 20 different things we could talk about. And I felt bad because I'm like, am I just being lazy or am I just like, it could have just been, there's so much football stuff going on right now that I just couldn't like pick an avenue or a guest or anything like that. And believe it or not, we try to keep the show within an hour, but sometimes we go on tangents about Eddie Guerrero or his son, Dominic, rightfully so. So I think today we're going to run through this list. And we're going to call it Viking Smorgasbord in honor of the Swedish chef from the Muppets, because I always thought he was funny. I don't know. There's that. But you said it was very Midwestern, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, isn't there a lot of Swedish people in Minnesota?
Norwegian,
or they look
Scandinavian.
They look Swedish.
Yeah.
Do
you think we all just walk around with blonde hair and blue? Well, I guess the Vikings logo, but
yeah. I would say
Hawkinson looks like an actual Viking, so
right?
it's probably misleading.
Everything you're saying is not helping your case.
No, not at all. I'm going to go have some hot dish, unlike Chet Holmgren, who says he enjoys cornbread and oxtails for Thanksgiving, even though he 100,000% ate green bean casserole every year and loved it. Yes, absolutely. So this smorgasbord, let's just start off with one of the biggest things, and that is Mr. J.J. McCarthy, because he remains the NFL's biggest mystery 1 week ahead of OTAs. Pro Football Focus dropped their quarterback rankings ahead of OTAs, and he had J.J. McCarthy 21st in their rankings. And then NFL Media's Bucky Brooks came out and compared J.J. McCarthy to Alex Smith. So I'm just going to put both of these together and we can just discuss this because that seems underwhelming, right?
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, a comparison to Alex Smith is not what you want for the quarterback that you just drafted, 10th overall, the highest you've ever used a draft pick on, the highest you've ever used a draft pick on a quarterback in franchise history. But if you listen to what Bucky said in his podcast or whatever, it was more about like how he's going to be like Alex Smith next season. He's not saying for his entire career, but next season where like all the pieces are set up around him where the Vikings won't need him to put the whole team on his back and win games that way. They have, they'll need him to make plays here and there, but they're not going to go out there and build their entire offense around JJ. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pass to their top targets. They're going to block well. The defense is going to play well. Like everything's set up for JJ to succeed, and that's kind of where the comparison comes from for Alex Smith. And then as far as the ranking goes, 21st. I mean, it's hard to rank someone like JJ at this point because he hasn't played a regular season game in his career. So I mean, 21st. I can't really argue yes or no with it, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into like the top 15 next year. I think if he does, I'm fine with that. Top 10 would be, I think, awesome, but I'm not going to put my expectations there right now.
This is funny because do you want to take a stab? 2018 quarterback rankings. Do you want to guess where Patrick Mahomes landed?
21st?
25th.
Oh, 25th.
He was ranked behind Ryan Tannehill, Andy Dalton, Sam Bradford, Arizona Cardinals Sam Bradford, by the way, with two bad knees, Tyrod Taylor, and Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans Deshaun Watson.
He was a rookie, right?
I
I think he
believe
was.
so. I think this was his second year.
Okay.
He started as a rookie and then he was
Oh, yeah, he
coming in.
got drafted
So
the
he's
same year
coming
as
off the torn
Mahomes.
ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was before Deshaun Watson really took off, but I threw him in there
I don't
because
did he
why the
tear
hell
he
not?
didn't tear his ACL his rookie year, did he? I
Rookie
thought
season.
he did? I thought he
Yeah.
just didn't play a lot.
No, he was on the bench to begin the season. I had him in fantasy football, so I
Okay,
know.
okay.
And that year I had like 6 players tear their ACLs. So it's very vivid in my mind. It was a graphic. I put Deshaun Watson's face on this guy and just wrote exploding knees, and his kneecaps were literally bursting into flames because that was my team.
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes was 25th on this list. And they say expectations were high for Mahomes, who had a strong showing in his only NFL start last year in week 17. He makes special throws both inside and outside of structure, but the big question will be how many poor decisions can he avoid along the way? In 2016 at Texas Tech, Mahomes ranked second in the nation in big time throws, but also second in turnover worthy throws. Perhaps an indication of a volatile style, which will lead to plenty of fireworks given the explosive playmakers in Kansas City. So I wonder what the hell happened to that guy.
Yeah, let the
You know,
fireworks.
it's all Tyreek Hill, it's all Travis Kelce, it's Kareem Hunt in the backfield, it's the infrastructure by Andy Reid. Is this all sounding familiar? Like, don't let the facts get in the way of a good narrative if you're a national person, because we have no idea what J.J. McCarthy is going to be, and it puts all the national analysts on tilt. They don't know how to handle it. There's a reason Diana Rossini has been on our podcast all offseason going, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Viking. Isn't that so exciting, you guys? Aaron Rodgers, he's going to come to Minnesota. And then her co-host, Chase Daniel, is just flabbergasted that you could even think about starting J.J. McCarthy. It's just why would you let Sam Darnold walk out the door? The Vikings are 8.5 wins this year in an offseason that they arguably got better. That's their over-under. Vegas has them at 8.5 wins. And like, just pay attention what's happening with the people who are directly involved with this. Cam Bynum, who has no reason to say this because he plays for the Colts now, said McCarthy is different and knows he'll be able to get the job done. Mark Wilf was on KFXN this week calling J.J. McCarthy a gravitational leader. And by the way, Caleb Williams and Aaron Rodgers both want to play for the Vikings. And the Vikings said, nah, we're good. We're going to take J.J. McCarthy. Like, it would be crazy to think he's going to come out and be Patrick Mahomes, but it's also insane to all these people who are just like, the franchise is going to burn to the ground. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Because you know what? A lot of those same people said the same thing about Kirk Cousins. And Sam Darnold went out there and threw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. So I don't know.
Well, I'm going back to the Alex Smith comparison. If J.J. McCarthy puts up numbers like 2017 Alex Smith, I think we'd all be totally fine with that, because that people were surprised after that season that the Chiefs were like, okay, we're getting rid of Alex Smith after the season that he had, and then rolling with Mahomes. So if JJ comes out and puts up those numbers, I think a lot of people will be happy with that. But yeah, it's like I know that people have shows to put on, they have viewers to get, but like all this stuff about how so there's like, I think Colin Cowherd is out on McCarthy and stuff, and he hasn't liked him ever since before he even came in the NFL. I think there's that clip of Thor like trying to convince him, and he's like, okay. So like and he loves Sam Darnold, so that doesn't help either, Cowherd. But like, yeah, I mean, everything is set up for McCarthy to succeed. I think everything is set up for almost any quarterback to succeed. You go back to 2023, and the Vikings won 7 games with Kirk Cousins, Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs, and who was the rookie there that they had that played half a game against the Packers from BYU, Jaron Hall.
Yeah.
So I mean, 8.5, I would hit that over easily.
Yeah.
Unless McCarthy gets hurt. And even if McCarthy does get hurt, like, this team has so many good players that, like, even if McCarthy got hurt, I'd still feel good about if Sam Howell had to play a good chunk of the season, I'd still feel good about their chances of making the playoffs, just because of what Kevin O'Connell has already shown and the amount of weapons that the Vikings have on offense and defense. So,
Did you see how excited Kwesi was like when he realized he could trade for Sam Howell too?
Oh yeah.
Like he was just like, "Oh my god, Howell!"
Did you see O'Connell's mustache?
I did. That's why I got this rocking right now, where I cut the sides off and I grew it out a little bit. So
it was good. I liked
yeah.
it. I also liked KOC. Seems like a little bit of like a jokester, a little prankster in there. He's like cracking jokes, throwing trash around, and
I mean, it's a long weekend.
yeah, you gotta keep it lighthearted, I guess. And he's got input, but he's not the one like making the calls and stuff, or like grinding the numbers, like what picks to trade and everything. He's more just like, oh yeah, we like that guy. Well, let's get him. So yeah, that video was fun. But yeah, J.J. McCarthy. We want to keep our optimism high, but I mean, like I said, if he struggles or if Sam Howell has to play because JJ got hurt, I'm still feeling pretty confident about this team in 2025.
Let's just get him on the field at this point.
Please.
Like I'm sick of all the like speculate. Like I want to see this dude rifle. I want. I always laugh at the little cut-ups they put on social media.
Oh yeah,
I
remember
want
last
that.
year?
I want to see one with JJ McCarthy. Just shoot it into my veins.
Well, remember last year when that clip was going around of like JJ overthrowing Josh McCown, the quarterbacks coach, like in rookie minicamp or whatever. Yeah, and then people covering the Vikings know that he was going to get first team reps after that preseason game and potentially challenge Sam Darnold for the starting job. And he came a long way in such a short period of time. So I feel confident with him having a full offseason that he is going to be focused, especially since he has somebody else to play for now.
Yeah, he's going to be a dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to defer to the resident dad on this show for commentary there, but
I'm excited for him. This already sounds negative, but no. I want to say to the people that are like, oh, what he's having it during the season. It's like, do we really think he's going to be up all night, like trying to rock the baby? He has money, like he can get, and he has family. Like he's going to have help throughout the season. Yes, he's going to want to be there to help take care of the baby, but everyone knows he also has like a pretty serious job to do that brings in a ton of cash. So he's gonna, and I don't think he's the person either that's gonna be like gonna feel like he has to like force to be in this kid's life. He's gonna want to be in their life. So congrats to JJ and his fiance, and he'll be just fine in the season. Plenty of, believe it or not, plenty of NFL players have kids. I don't know if you know this, but Kirk Cousins, he had kids.
Philip Rivers has a lot of kids.
He does. Anthony Edwards has a lot of kids. So
but never mind. I'm not going there. Good
idea.
Next topic. We're doing great. That only took 10 minutes, by the way, but I went on a rant. The NFL owners meetings happened right here in Minnesota. Actually, technically, it'd be right over, let's see, north, south, right there in Minnesota behind me. Yes, but yes, perfect. The number one thing was the Tush Push stays alive. And this is going to shock you because a team that's concerned with everybody else but themselves, the Green Bay Packers, proposed the rule and it lost 22-10, which is hilarious because that was the same score they lost the Eagles in the playoffs.
Isn't it on purpose?
They might have done it. I don't know. The vote's like 21-10. Like, well, I wasn't going to vote for it, but now I kind of have to. Roger Goodell went Vince McMahon levels of corruption to try and get this thing banned by pushing the vote to May, having the owners and family members only in the room when it got voted on. And I guess I'll lead off by just saying, I think this is the greatest play in the history of the NFL. Not only are the Eagles the only team that can do it, because Jalen Hurts has 42 rushing touchdowns since the start of the 2022 season when they ran it. Josh Allen is second with 37. They can also run a tush push. Justin Fields is next up with 17. So that is just like a massive difference. And they've also sabotaged every other team that has tried to copy it. Does anybody remember Brandon Powell trying to do the tush push?
Yeah.
Like, that's probably why the Vikings voted against it. So greatest play in the history of the NFL. It's the tush push. And I don't think we should eliminate it if you can't stop it, figure out a way. There are so many defensive coordinators out there who, double A cap, blitzkrieg, blah, figure it out. Get a big fat guy in there.
Well, I was listening to Stacking the Box, our FanSided podcast earlier today, the NFL podcast, and they were talking about how the tush push kind of basically has the same percentage as a quarterback sneak. Like quarterback sneaks also have like a 90% success rate, and so does the tush push. But like because the tush push is the way it is and it looks the way it is, people are like, oh, that's unfair. When it's like, I mean, quarterback sneaks, you could just do that too, like the Bills do all the time. I think the Bills actually were one of the teams that most frequently used a quarterback sneak last year for Josh Allen, more than the Eagles. And the Bills voted against the tush push, which is weird too. Maybe because they were just so embarrassed from the AFC Championship of failing 4 times, I think, on the goal line or whatever. But I don't know. Like, it's like you said, if you want to be out of the game, then you got to stop it, because it has been stopped before. There are teams that have stopped it, but like, if you don't want the Eagles to get in a situation where they can use it, then stop them from getting there. They're not going to do a tush push on 3rd and 5 or 4th and 8. Like, put them in situations where they don't get to do that. And it's the same thing. You don't want opponents to have 3rd and 1s or 4th and 2s. Like, you want them to have longer distances. So I think it's just more of like, people don't like the way it looks. People think it's unfair because like the Eagles have only won one Super Bowl with using this, and they didn't need it in the Super Bowl. They won by like 50 points over the Chiefs. So it's not like they scored every touchdown with the tush push. It was so unfair. But like, and they cite safety, which is stupid too, because I think Jason Kelsey said the other day, like, all I had to do to come back was do the tush push 80 times, I would come back and play and do that, because it has nothing to do with safety. But of course the NFL gets that in there, but I don't care. I was more curious of like the way people voted, with like the Lions voting against it being banned, every NFC North team voting for it to be banned, every NFC East team voting for it to be banned. Like, I was more interested in the voting rather than the actual result.
Yeah, and T-Bass23, I put it on the screen, but I'll put it back up for the audio audience. He says, I'm embarrassed right now being a Viking fan, knowing they were one of the teams that voted against the tush push. I think there was a little pressure from the commissioner.
Hey, you guys want a Super Bowl anytime soon? You want the draft in Minnesota? You're going to vote for against it.
Yeah, that might be it. He also mentions nobody used the lineman in the backfield until the Bears did it with Refrigerator Perry. It's basically the same thing. Anybody can do it. Vikings started using Randall McDaniel. Mike Leach had a great idea when he was college coach. He wanted to take a little person, pick him up, and just yeet him over to the goal line. And for you old people, yeeting is like throwing. Like, yeet is like, a sign of expression. Yeet also, you can throw like yeet.
I'm curious if teams now go like 1,000% in the other direction, where they do use like Vita Vea in the backfield. They do use like their biggest players and just like either have them run the ball or snap the ball. And they're just like, whatever, like, just everyone else is doing it, let's do it, because the NFL, we know the NFL, the saying, it's a copycat league. So, but yeah, like, I'm sure Goodell was like, "Oh, Vikings, yeah, you want the draft? I guess I know who you're voting for." Wink, wink. So yeah.
Last thing on this, maybe they could just play better defense on 1st and 2nd down, so it's not 3rd and 1 or 2. That's something you can do, but it's never their fault. It's never a team's fault. It's the other team.
Is it Saquon Barkley's like PR team that maybe is behind this as well, because he lost out on 10 touchdowns probably last year because of the tush push?
Yeah. Barkley's just outside of the room like, you gotta ban it. You gotta come on. You're killing me out here.
He could have had 20 touchdowns and 2,000 yards last year.
He still got handsomely. He got another contract extension.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good to go. Just everybody in fantasy is like, aw. Next topic. Flag football is coming to the 2028 Olympics, and it sounds like NFL players are going to play. And guess what? Justin Jefferson wants to play and win a gold medal. Nope. Not at all. Sorry, dude. Like, I can't have it. I can't have it. I just got done watching Joel Erickson, Ack of the Wild, play on a broken leg for half a season because he had to go defend Sweden's honor in the Four Nations tournament. Matt Boldy and Brett Favre were gasped for about 6 weeks because they did the same damn thing. So, I mean, this thing's going to happen in the heart of training camp. And, oh, by the way, anybody Google Robert Edwards and tell me what you come up with, because they did a beach volleyball thing at the Pro Bowl a couple years ago. And that
couple years ago.
Oh my God. I'm like the Matt Damon meme where he gets super old. Like in the 90s, they had a beach volleyball game, and that dude tore every ligament in his knee and couldn't play football anymore. I fear the same thing is going to happen with this flag football. Like, oh, it'll be fun. We'll have football players in it. And by the way, who the hell would want to watch that? Like, oh, it's
the Olympics. You watch
getting smoked by Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, people watch curling and they watch badminton and stuff. It's the Olympics. That's the time you watch those weird sports. So I think people would watch.
But that's like competitive. This isn't going to be competitive. This is just going to be dudes getting this is like 90 like everybody loves the dream team. Go back and watch those games. They were unwatchable because they just kicked the shit out of them. Predictably, by the way.
I feel like they should have like the NBA players that don't make the dream team, have them play flag football because they'd probably do just as well. Just throw moss bombs.
Anthony Edwards, he was a big footballer. That was the big thing. That was why some people were like, you can't draft him number one. He likes football more than basketball. But,
okay. Yeah, clearly.
It seems to have worked out for him. You got anything else on flag football?
Yeah,
otherwise
the thing is with this, like, it seems all fun right now, but if you look up when the 2028 Olympics are currently scheduled, it's July 14th to July 30th in 2028, which would mean that if players want to play, their teams have to be okay with them missing parts of training camp, which A.J. Brown of the Eagles, he said before it came out or whatever that he did want to play and he was excited about it, but then he found out it was during camp and he was like, no, not going to do that. But I wonder, I just wrote about this on the Vikings too. Like, let's fast forward to, 3 years ahead, and Kevin O'Connell's still the coach, Justin Jefferson's still in the same offense. Is Justin Jefferson's 2028 season just going to be totally derailed if he, misses a couple training camp practices and goes and plays flag football? I don't think so. But if the Vikings have a new head coach by then, they have a new quarterback, then I think it's going to be different where, the team's going to want him to be at camp as much as possible to get adjusted to new offense, get adjusted to new quarterback. So I think it just depends on the situation because it's still pretty far away. But I do believe the NFL is going to want star power, especially because it's in LA, the Olympics are, that the NFL is going to want like some notable names in there. And it could be just like older guys, which I think would still be enjoyable because you'd know who people are. But I wonder, I feel like some teams that are notoriously slimy are going to be like, nope, you can't play. I don't care. You're good. You're not going to play. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. And I think it's pretty cool. And I think like, if you can't win a Super Bowl, you might as well try and go win a gold medal for your country, which is pretty cool to say. Like even if it only lasts for one Olympics, you can say like, I'm an Olympic gold medalist, and you're and an All Pro and a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Like how many people can say that? So like from that aspect, I think it's cool, but I think a lot of things have to get sorted out before it happens, and they have time. So we'll see.
We will see one more before the break here, and then we'll just kind of run through some of the other stuff. But the playoff thing was a playoff seating. Thank you.
The thing,
big old brain can't. The thing.
The college football playoff did something similar today, so that might have thrown you off.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did they
Yeah,
change?
they switched it from the top 4 have to win a conference championship to, like, just overall seeding for all 12 teams,
Okay.
which people are gonna freak out about anyway, so,
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fine.
yeah.
What I mean, yeah. We could talk about that some other time
Thanks a lot,
because
Boise State.
all you had to do, Ashton G&T, was beat Penn State by
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
and none of this would have happened. So, whatever. Playoff seeding remains the same in the NFL after the Lions pulled their proposal. Remember, that is 1 through 4. The division champions are seated in the top 4 seeds, and the wild card seeds teams are seeded 5 through 7. Because why wouldn't you want a 14-win team playing on the road on Super Wild Card Weekend? Maybe on Monday in a different city, and when the home team is on fire, we'll bring in whatever her name is to sing the national anthem. I'm not bitter or anything. Maybe the interior of the offensive line could have blocked. Anyway, the Lions, not surprisingly, didn't understand the assignment. Maybe they didn't hit the public library soon enough to use the public internet. But their proposal was a straight 1 through 7 seeding. The NFL, of course, wants their big Week 18 matchup because 28.5 million people watched Vikings and Lions last year, so they want that. I don't want this to turn into the NBA where divisions don't matter. So how should they do this?
I think the way they had it set up, divisions still would matter, like, I can't remember what the tiebreaker was, but it was made, like, a certain way where divisions would matter, like, if your record was tied with another team, then if you won the division, you would get the higher spot. So in that way, I think divisions would still matter, especially if you tied for like first place or whatever, and you're trying to get that. Like your division record, I think comes into play with that. So I still think divisions would matter, but I think first off, why did the Lions pull their proposal? Like what? Like they didn't
Yeah.
even want it to be voted on. Like was it going to be that
Well,
drastic?
the NFL also went to them and said, "Hey, could you throw us on the table?" And the Lions were like, "I guess," but
If you
yeah,
if
because
they probably what they probably did because they didn't pass their uh no defensive holding penalties or whatever that they wanted to pass in March. They're like, fine, we're taking this away. But I do think when they expand to probably like 18 playoff, 18 games, I think seeding has to change. Like somehow it has to change, whether it's the whole conference or half the conference or whatever. Like if you want to seed it and then like after the first round reseed it or whatever, then that's fine. But like you can't go into an 18 playoff with the Vikings as a wild card team playing, the 7-9 Seahawks. I guess it would be like 7-10 or whatever. Yeah, you can't. That can't happen anymore because it's not only unfair. Like you say, divisions won't matter. Like, what's the point of winning a bunch of games then? If you're not going to win the division, then what's the point of winning a bunch of games if you're only going to have to go on the road anyways? If you're a wild card team, so I think it'll eventually get changed. I think this was like kind of like a good introduction. It got a good discussion going because I think I would be fine with it. I know some people wouldn't, but including yourself, but um, I don't know.
I think what they should do is divisions get an automatic playoff spot, but not a home game. Like
Right?
that's the
Yeah.
change you make. Because I mean, if a team, were the Bucks 8-9? No, they weren't 8-9 last year. They were 8-9 2 years ago though, and I think, or even like a couple years, Tom Brady's Bucks had to go to Washington in the first round of the playoffs, and they were like 6-11 or something stupid like that. So like, make that team the 7 seed, have them go to the 2 seed and get their brains beat in, because usually the 7 seed isn't very good anyway.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, that to me, that's the easiest way to figure it out, and I don't understand
Because
why.
if the Vikings played the Rams in Minnesota last year, I would like to think their chances would be a lot higher than they were in Phoenix or Glendale, wherever they played. Not having to travel, being able to stay home. They could have probably rested players maybe in the second half against the Lions. Um, but Yeah, I think they wanted seeding. There was something about like it would make week 17 and week 18 matter too, because if you have you want to have the top seeds, so more teams would be trying to fight for those last couple seeds. I feel like that was the whole like excitement behind it. Was like those last 2 weeks would mean a lot more because you would have a chance at getting a higher playoff spot instead of just being like, oh, we won, the NFC West, so we're gonna be third no matter what. I know.
Yeah. Sorry. I was zoning out. So you're saying what now?
Yeah. For real? You're asking me? Are you asking me to clarify? Okay.
Yeah.
So week 17 and week 18 would matter more because teams would have a better chance at getting like say last year with the Vikings and Lions, instead of the Lions getting the 1 seed and the Vikings getting the 5th seed. The Vikings would still have a chance of getting the 2nd seed.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
So
That's super. No, so like right before I went on, I'm moving out. I'm moving back to Minnesota.
Yep.
So I just got this gigantic list from my landlord of all the things I have to do before I move out. And I was like looking at my sign, like it's held together with command strips. So I'll be totally fine. But it's like, oh, do I got to get paid? Do I got to do all that stuff? I don't know. I could use some extra money. And maybe I'll just get it on Underdog Fantasy, because Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during playoff basketball. And you can take a swing at picking baseball this season at Underdog. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can now play in your state. Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. To play, all you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like points, assists, home runs, strikeouts, and so much more. And once your picks feel good, you can play with as little as $1. And if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. I've been playing Underdog for years, and there's a lot going on right now. Maybe you can go lower on any Timberwolves bench players' three-pointers because they can't hit a shot to save their life. Or you can go higher on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's free throws because he's going to shoot like 30 per game. I'll also sit down and I'll do pitching outs and strikeouts for some Twins games, and it's really easy to do. All you do is download the Underdog app. You sign up with the promo code THEAGE, which is all one word, and you unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with the promo code TheAge and claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your first deposit. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama or Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present when in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. If you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. And in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. All right, just some quick things that happened at the NFL owners meetings, and then we'll kind of go around the league here to wrap up. But onside kicks can now happen at any time, which
you still have to declare it.
Yeah, you still have to declare it.
Hey, we're doing this. Okay.
Just go to a 4th and 15. Like that. People want to see that more anyway. Like, it's like, all right, you got to convert this 4th and 15. And if you get that, you get the ball back. Like, you get
either
stars
do that,
on the field, and
either do that or put the old rule back.
Yeah, where you could just do it at any time.
Yeah, I don't know why they have to
player
declare
safety.
Oh, it's because of the way they're lined up on the new kickoff, because they're like 30 yards down. Because if they didn't declare it, they could get it. They could easily get it back.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it would be fun to see like the opposing defense be like, "Oh shit," and just like gun it.
Yeah,
that would probably be even worse though. You got a full speed like gunner.
Yeah,
just
I'm pretty sure every team would onside kick if they didn't have to declare it.
Yes. So I don't know. I think they should just go 4th and 15.
Yeah.
That's
where I think they're headed. So.
That's my opinion. Another cool thing, the Protector of the Year, which sounds badass, but they're giving an Offensive Lineman of the Year award. And it's kind of exciting because the Vikings actually have an offensive line now, and like people can like Ed Ingram was never going to get close to that. I mean, he still could. He's with Texans
He
now,
could.
but who is the Viking most likely to win the Protector of the Year award?
I mean, this year there's a lot to choose from. I feel like you could go Ryan Kelly if you wanted to. I mean, Darasaw's the one that sticks out, but we don't even know if he's going to be ready for week 1.
I think he'll get one at some point, though.
Yeah.
Like that's why, like in their career.
But like, this is how are you going to determine this? Like the fewest PFF pressures. Like,
I mean, that's basically it. Like
the most
I don't know.
pancakes.
Yeah, just I mean, I remember Mason McCormick, who he played at SDSU a couple years ago, and then he got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's starting now. But during his pre-draft process, he put out this like mixtape of him just blowing up dudes at SDSU, and it had like "Kickstart My Heart" in the background. I mean, that's basically what has to happen now. Like, people got to start being like skibbity a pancake or whatever.
Now,
did I say that right? Or
I don't know what that is.
I'm yeeting. I'm whatever. It just somebody just cringed like, ugh.
Now, can Josh Oliver get Protector of the Year? Because he's the best blocking tight end in NFL history.
I think they said offensive line.
So like CJ Ham can't get Protector of the Year.
No, it's unfortunately not.
Bullshit. Yeah, I don't. It's gonna be a left tackle. It's always gonna be left. It's gonna be like MVP that always goes to quarterback. It's gonna be Protector of the Year always goes to left tackle. I guess unless you're Lane Johnson, which I feel like everyone's like he's gonna do it. He's gonna get it. Or like Trent Williams. Like there's just like I don't know. There's not a lot of ways for an offensive lineman to stand out from like the rest of his peers. I feel like. So it's gonna be probably super political. But I don't know. We'll see.
Voter fatigue.
Whatever. They want an award. Now they got it. Are they going to do? What about kickers, punters? Come on. We got to get everybody in there. Let's go.
For sure. Punter of the Year award.
Yeah.
The Pat McAfee award.
Oh, God. It's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. He's not even the best punter ever. He's just loud.
He was good, but he was more about like, he was like a pro wrestler on the field. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Now he's a pro wrestler.
He has that really good hit on I want to say KJ Hamler. Yeah, it might have been him or it's somebody who looks like KJ. Somebody who's small looks like KJ Hamler, who was on the Broncos to like return the punt, and Pat McAfee laid him out.
170-pound dude. Yeah. Speaking of teams with 170-pound dude, Wan'Dale Robinson in the news actually in a roundabout way because the Hard Knocks teams were announced. This week, the Buffalo Bills are going to be on the preseason version of Hard Knocks, which, but
it interests me because they have their training camp where I went to college. So I'm going to be like, I know where that is.
They had so an ex-roommate of mine who doesn't talk to me because I didn't pay my last month's rent, but that's neither here or there. Very good reason not to talk to me anymore. But River Falls had Kansas City Chiefs training camp back in the day. So they were on Hard Knocks and he wound up like getting a hardcore job with NFL Films.
Nice. Yeah. So, I want to be like, wherever they're staying in the dorms and be like, I stayed there. Or like, there's a grocery store called Wegmans out there. I want to see if they do a segment there or whatever. But I'm curious to watch it for that because I went to school there. So I'll be like, oh, wow, look at that. It looks different.
You're going to be like Rick Dalton.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Cracking a beer and just, hey, I remember that.
Yeah.
I puked in those bushes.
You're not wrong.
The NFC East, though, is going to be on the in-season edition of Hard Knocks, which means the New York Giants are going to be featured. And that is completely hilarious if you remember the Giants front office one, which was an absolute train wreck. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be.
They cannot be happy with that at all.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of front office segments from this version.
Hey, Joe Schad, you want to wear the no? Stay away.
If they do get fired mid-season, I mean that'll be interesting to see. Not that I'm like I hope they get fired, but
they're getting canned. They're so getting canned.
Yeah.
Like they
we have to develop Jackson Dart. No, you don't. Get out of here.
Jackson Dart is here. Like, I don't know. Maybe gave him the same treatment he gave Dayton Daniels, Brian Dable. That is like, hey, double XYZ Spider 2 banana. You can't even say the play. Look at this idiot right here. And now he's running circles around your team.
If the Giants have the opportunity to draft Arch Manning next year or the year after, they're going to be like, oh, sorry, Jackson, see you later.
Well, you got that first round money, buddy. So you got that going.
They would trade him, probably.
Oh, yeah. They would definitely for like a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
So there is that.
I guess what Cowboys are in it. That'll be interesting, kind of to see that whole dynamic because it's all about Jerry. So I'm sure he'll find his way onto the screen somehow. I'm curious about the Eagles just to like see Sirianni behind the scenes, see how much of a scumbag or maybe find out why players like him. And then the Commanders are just fun because Jaden Daniels is good, and that seems like a likable team.
Just Brian Schottenheimer giving a speech, and all of a sudden Jerry just, yeah, that's my guy. You thought I couldn't take a risk right here. Look at this guy right here. We're 0-6, man.
If J.J. McCarthy is good this year, do you think they'll try and do the NFC North next year? Or I wonder if they're.
I'm surprised the Vikings haven't been on Hard Knocks.
They haven't. Yeah, they've never have.
They've never done
it. They're more Netflix. They do the quarterback show. They do receiver.
That's probably why. Because like
but it's made by NFL Films.
True. I don't know. Maybe next year.
I forgot about that. Kirk's going to be on quarterback again.
Yeah. In his cage. Let me out, guys. Let me out.
Joe Burrow. That'll be fun.
Who
else is on there? Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, and somebody else.
Jared Goff.
Ugh. Okay. No thanks. I can watch paint dry somewhere else.
If those people in Detroit could read, they'd be very upset. Actually, that this isn't. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Public internet. Let's go elsewhere in the NFC North. My brain is just fried. That list is so long, dude. I am so afraid. The Bears didn't make Caleb Williams available to the media on Wednesday. I wonder why. Probably because the first question was going to be, so you want to be a Viking, huh?
Yeah, I talked to somebody who covers the Bears, and they were like, well, he wasn't scheduled to be available. I'm like, well, he should have been. Because now it looks worse. Now they could have nipped it in the butt. Close that door, but now that door is still wide open and going into next week. Like they're just making it worse, letting more people speculate. So yeah, it's the Bears. What we shouldn't expect anything less.
All they had to do was get him out there and be like, yeah, we had some second thoughts, but I'm here now. And
sorry, I didn't want to play in quarterback purgatory. So sue me.
And Ben Johnson had the perfect response to it. Credit to him because he said, well, we can change the narrative.
Yeah,
that's all they had to do.
Like, they weren't good. So now we can be good.
Now we can be. I am here. Jesus Christ for quarterbacks. I've already said my piece. I think Caleb Williams is the next Trevor Lawrence.
What if Trevor Lawrence is good this year, though?
Then I'll change my opinion.
I think he's got a good chance to be, actually.
I don't know. You think Liam Cohen's good coach?
Listen, if you can turn Baker Mayfield around, you can turn Trevor Lawrence around.
Okay.
And he's got more weapons this year, right? He's got he already had Brian Thomas. Who did they add?
Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah, that guy. So yeah,
the most popular player in the draft. So, but I'm confusing.
Really, I didn't hear anyone talk about him. All I heard was Shedeur Sanders. I didn't even know Travis.
Okay, you put me in a box there. Shedeur was way more popular.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Travis Hunter could be a generational talent, but there is that. But anyway,
Shedeur is putting up numbers in rookie minicamp, though.
Yeah. Just I took him late in my rookie minicamp dynasty league, but
don't tell Dion.
Won't tell Dion. Brett Favre's documentary came out. So you watch that thing, or
Yeah,
I
I
have
did.
not seen it, but
I watched it.
reviews are not positive towards Mr. Favre.
No. I'll say this. The one part from it that will probably describe the whole thing is I think a Packers beat reporter, or used to be a Packers beat reporter, said that like his editor came up to him one day and asked him to write about Brett Favre, the Family Man. And he said, "No, I don't write about fiction, so not going to do that." Yeah.
I mean, it's not shocking. Like the
No.
dude was, I mean, the guy was high on vodka and painkillers when he played.
It's also like they went like super deep into like the Jen Sturger stuff. Like talked about how like he messaged her on MySpace, which is so weird. Like with like a fake name, and then he like started to leave her voicemails, which like, but he didn't still didn't say his name. And Jen Sturger was like, so it was either Brett or someone who did a really good Brett Favre impression, because he's got that twang. It's not like he can just like hide his voice or whatever. Um, yeah, and it's kind of sad with her thing because like everyone blamed her for everything because that's how life goes. But I didn't appreciate that the a lot of the parts where they're talking about him being a jackass featured him in a Vikings uniform. We could have put him in a Packers uniform. Okay,
Especially since he played
and they
19 out of
didn't
his 20 years in
they didn't really go over like his painkiller addiction or anything else. Like they talked about his dad dying. They talked about his welfare money embezzlement or whatever they did. Which is still crazy that he's not in jail for that. But yeah, money talks. So
it will
he's not
be
a good guy.
yeah.
He's not a good guy.
I'm not very good at watching stuff like that, but it's on my list.
Yeah,
Like
it's worth.
I feel like those untold things, they do a good job at diving into some stuff, but they always like leave some stuff like out there.
Yeah, the Manziel
So
one was interesting because at the end he was like talking about how like his career got ruined by like drinking and stuff, and at the end he was like playing beer pong with his friend. Just like, okay,
yeah. The Urban Meyer one was
yeah,
basically just
yeah. I didn't watch that one because I heard it was like terrible.
it was basically just Urban Meyer's the best. Like nothing else happened as Trevor Lawrence.
The Untolds are, yeah, some of them are all right, but I feel like when like Netflix does like their own kind of like documentary, or 30 for 30 does it, they're a lot more interesting and better like that. They're more daring because they're not afraid of like stepping on any eggshells or anything.
What if we make somebody angry? What if
That's the whole point.
Yes,
Or the
that's what
Manti
a
Te'o one
documentary
was good.
does.
The Manti Te'o one was good.
It was very
Okay.
good. Otherwise in the NFL, some teams threw some money around. The 49ers paid Brock Purdy and Fred Warner. Purdy said he didn't want to take every penny for himself, and then he signed a 5-year, $256 million contract. Kirk Cousins even like, damn, I should have thought of that
Yeah,
line.
where's it going?
Now where's
Who was
maybe funneled some off to Mississippi welfare. I'm kidding. Oh
No,
man,
no.
that's
He went to
no.
Iowa, right? Iowa State.
He was from Iowa State,
Is he
Arizona
from
native.
Iowa?
No,
Oh,
he's
Arizona.
from Arizona, but he played at Iowa State, and he's like, I mean, this Iowa State Cyclone football is ungodly bad overall, but they've been very good now.
Yeah,
under Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
So, but
Isn't that-
their history is
They just
go
had two
back in their
receivers.
history. You're like, holy shit! Like they never had anything good happen. So
Yeah, I think the Texans just drafted two of their receivers,
Mhm.
and that's where David Montgomery went to. So, like, yeah, they've got some players. Yeah, Brock Purdy. I think his like average salary now is between like Tua and Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
So, like, that's what the market says. That's right around where his value probably most people agree with. But like, would you rather do that, or would you have rather signed Sam Darnold to the contract he got from the Seahawks?
I think I'd rather have Darnold because you have freedom. You have freedom to keep the infrastructure around you. And then you could, if Darnold sucks, you go, oh, we're 5-12 right now.
See ya.
We could trade up for Arch Manning or Lenore Sellers or Nico Iamaliva. His name's
In the
so
5th
funny.
round?
In the 5th. I don't know. UCLA might not be the best situation for him, but especially now too. Like if teams were mad about Shador, like imagine what they're gonna look at. So you left your team over money, huh?
Well, remember was it DJ, the kid from Clemson, like DJ Ugalele or whatever?
Yeah.
Like he was kind of similar, where like he left and went to Florida State, and everyone thought, "Oh yeah, he's gonna be great. He's gonna be top prospect," and he was terrible. He was terrible. So like, I don't know. These kids are good marketers, so I would just say save your money, because I don't know if you're gonna get that in the NFL. I would stay in college as long as you can.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you're seeing 5th and 6th year college players now.
Yeah.
Like,
But how much?
bag.
Okay, so with the Brock Purdy money, how much money is if J.J. McCarthy's good for these next 4 years? Is he gonna get to 100 million? Like, is he gonna get to that before 100 million a year, or are we gonna look probably at least 70, right?
Yeah, I would
70
say
or 80.
70.
Just the way the NFL
It's
caps
only
been
5
going up.
years down the road.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, 4.
Or maybe
Could
3,
depend.
actually, because he was hurt last year.
The Patrick Mahomes contract looks hilarious now because he signed like a $426 million.
Yeah.
And they've tweaked it so he's getting more money.
Well,
but
even the Josh Allen contract looks cheap now.
But it's also smart on their end because they can actually put people around him.
Yeah, I think the Vikings would rather pay. If McCarthy is good, they'd rather pay him early. Especially if Rick Spielman was still there, he'd probably want to sign him to a contract now, but he can't. So, that's I hope he's good and I hope he gets paid. But then then they won't be able to sign guys like T.J. Hawkinson and Jordan Addison will be gone. I think he's gone anyways. But yeah, Brock Purdy got paid. The Niners are rolling with Purdy, I guess.
7-10. They won't. I mean, that division sucks, but
yeah, I think they're going to be like an 11-win team probably.
11-win. They have offensive genius Kyle Shanahan at the helm, so it doesn't really matter who's on the field.
Christian McCaffrey
for what 6 games before his calf explodes again.
Listen, he's going to get 300 carries again this year, and then next year his legs will fall off again. So.
Yes, it'll be delayed one more year.
There's a year to recover. Brandon Ayuk's coming off of his, leg falling off as well. So
George Kittle will burst into flames.
Hopefully none of the 49ers receivers get shot this year. That'll be good.
That would be very good for them. Fred Warner also getting paid too, so
he deserves that.
Yeah, for sure.
He's ridiculous. He's insane.
Yes. Last item of news: Dick Sirianni also got a contract extension from the Eagles. I don't know why. Every time something good happens to that guy, I'm like, good for him. Like it's
like
so
he's special
weird.
needs or something.
I don't maybe I just look at him and I'm like, everybody thinks this dude is a scumbag, but it's like he's doing something right.
Yeah.
Even if it's just winning football games, he's doing something right because he's got a Super Bowl ring and he's got a lot of money to his name. So
I don't think numbers came out with how much he got paid, but I would imagine he got more than O'Connell probably.
Yeah.
I would hope so. Win the Super Bowl.
I mean, the O'Connell numbers never came.
And there's no cap.
They must have some database with that information.
With O'Connell's, I think it came out that he got more than or around what Ben Johnson got from the Bears.
And Ben Johnson got like 14 million.
Which is insane because he could be terrible.
Yeah.
Why is no one talking? I feel like we're like the only people talking about how he could be a terrible head coach. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's a genius." It's like, remember what was it, like Mike Martz when he took over, and everyone was like, "Oh, he did this offense in St. Louis. He'll be a great coach for the Bears." No, he won't. He's not.
Remember Scott Linehan?
Yeah.
Scott Linehan, the head coach, was a disaster. Offensive
Rams?
Coordinator, he was really good, but I don't know. Just something. And he could come out and the Bears could be good and we're looking like idiots, but
we don't do this segment. I think I said this in the last podcast. We don't do this write this down segment, but write this down. Brian Schottenheimer will be a better head coach than Ben Johnson.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Schottenheimer's got a lot of talent in
I think
Dallas.
he's in the. I think Schottenheimer might be in the mold of like a Dan Campbell, where we're like, this guy's an idiot. Like he doesn't. What does he even do? He doesn't do anything. Then like next thing we know, his team's winning 13 games.
Yes, and he's chugging double venties on the sideline.
And his dad,
like
like
stone cold.
his dad was a great coach.
Yeah, a great regular season coach, but
Yeah,
don't want to talk about the playoff record.
no.
But that's pretty much it for everything we got going on here. What's going on in the Viking age right now, Adam?
Well, pretty much everything we just talked about, I got from the Viking Age. So just listen to the podcast. But I'm trying to think what's coming up. The Vikings have OTAs next week. I'm sure there'll be some people to talk and say things and talk about how McCarthy's going to be the greatest ever and blah 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 blah. But then, yeah, I'm trying. There's OTAs, mini camps in June, so like we're winding down. We'll be covering stuff, and this is the time of year I feel like where we look more at former players, teams in the division, because it's always fun to see how much of a dumpster fire the Bears are, because they just find new ways to make everyone laugh. And they used to be the Lions.
Bears,
It's not anymore. Not right now.
Bears gonna bear. Maybe when the Packers finish in last place, we can laugh at them too.
Like, wasn't Ben Johnson? Didn't the Jaguars want to hire him? Before? I feel like
Somebody.
I think the Jaguars did, and he was like, "Nah." And now I'm like, "You should have gone to Jacksonville. You probably would have. He would have been like, went on the Chicago media, like Jacksonville media. What do they have? Like 2 beat writers?
Yeah. Go to Chicago, which has like radio hosts and everything.
Yeah.
Just bonkers.
I don't know. Yeah. Go check it out, thevikingcage.com.
But you can get all your Viking news there. My Viking stuff is at zonecoverage.com. I'm also doing Twins and Wild stuff over there, so go check that out. I also write for the FanSided Regional Betting Network, talk about Lions, Packers, Bears. So if you want to know what's going on in the rest of the NFC North, you can go catch us there. But this is the Viking Age podcast. I am Chris Schad at The Real Chris Schad. He is Adam Patrick at Adam Patrick NFL. We do this every week right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel, and we're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.
Go Wolves.